Hey folks, this is JR with DIY Prepper. Welcome to the channel. One of the biggest problems that preppers tend to have is that they're not well-rounded enough in their preps, and there's a couple different reasons for this. First off, people tend to stick to what they know and then also what they like. So you have folks that maybe are really well off in one area, but they neglect all of the others. Then another reason is there's just a lot to keep track of. There's so many different areas that you need to have covered that it's very easy to let some slip by the wayside. But fortunately, pretty much everything that you need to stockpile can be broken down into 10 primary categories. And if you have these taken care of, you're going to be pretty well set up to deal with both short-term and long-term disaster situations. One of the most basic and important things that every prepper should stockpile is food. And when it comes to your food storage, just like all your other preps, you want to make it as comprehensive as possible. For example, while eating beans and rice together can form a complete protein, it's also a good idea to store some canned meat and soup as protein sources as well. Also, be sure that you have plenty of canned fruits and vegetables set aside along with some heirloom seeds so that you can grow your own. But you want to be sure to use some of them to start learning how to garden if you haven't done so already, because seeds are useless if you don't know how to use them. Also, don't overlook other dry goods that aren't talked about as much. Instant mashed potatoes, for example, can be good comfort food, and it can be prepared in a variety of ways if you have a good collection of seasonings and spices. Flour, cornmeal, and corn masa may not have as long of a shelf life as other dry foods, but they can still last for around 5 years if they're stored in a Mylar bag with oxygen absorbers, and having those will allow you to expand what you can cook with your food storage. Sugar, salt, and honey can all be stored indefinitely and can be used in a variety of ways. When storing salt, just keep in mind that the iodine in iodized salt will lose its effectiveness after around 5 years, but the salt itself will still be safe to use. And for honey, you want to pick up raw and unfiltered honey, because other kinds that have been more refined or pasteurized are going to lose a lot of their beneficial qualities. If you have any infants in your family, you definitely want to set food aside for them, and that's true even if you're breastfeeding, because you never know what may happen in an emergency. Mom may become sick or, heaven forbid, pass away, or may just stop producing milk like normal because of either stress or just not getting her nutritional needs taken care of. And you definitely don't want a domino effect where something happens to the baby because something happens to mama. And if you have anybody in your family with other special dietary needs, be sure to take care of those as well. For example, freeze-dried backpacking meals are great to store, but a lot of those contain things like wheat or eggs, and those are things that a lot of people are allergic to. So if you do plan on storing those, store varieties that are safe for them to eat, or just go ahead and store some separate food specifically for that person. Like if you have somebody in your family that can't eat gluten, then stockpiling some gluten-free pasta is a good option for them. And if you have animals, also set some food back for them. Then beyond food itself, there are some other food-related items that you want to stockpile. Non-electric can openers are an absolute must, and you probably want to have a few of them because even good ones can break. But I actually prefer to use multi-tool can openers. So between those and our regular manual can opener, we're pretty good to go on that. But you can also pick up things like those P38 military can openers as well. Then if you live in a more rural area, then having some small animal traps could be helpful if you want to catch some small game. The next type of item that every prepper should stockpile is anything to do with water. And of course, you want to have water stored in your home, but also have ways that you can procure and purify additional water as needed. For water storage, portable containers are a very good starting point, and that's true whether you live in a larger house or a small apartment. The best one that I've found as far as build quality goes is the Scepter Military Water Can. It's very durable, but it's also thin enough that you can slide it in between pieces of furniture. Its thin form factor also makes it easier to carry than other things like aquatainers, although aquatainers are a good budget option if you're just planning on using them around the house. If you're really short on space, then water bricks work well since they can be stacked one on top of the other, but their main downside other than their cost is that once the water reaches a certain level inside, it can be a little bit difficult to dispense water from it. Bottled water is okay for short-term use as long as it's rotated, but I do not recommend storing water in milk-style jugs. Those tend to be a little bit flimsy, and I've had some break on me and I didn't even know that it happened. But one exception to that is distilled water. While I would wouldn't store a lot of it, having a few jugs on hand is useful if you or someone in your family gets sick and you need to run a humidifier. Then of course, if you have room, then larger containers like water barrels or IBC totes work well for bulk storage. And these can be used just to store water outright, or you can integrate them into something like a rainwater harvesting system. However, if you're using the transparent containers like IBC totes, then you'll want to wrap or cover them to prevent algae from growing inside of them. If you have a countertop filter like a Berkey, be sure to have some extra filtering elements stored in your home, and the same is true if you have portable filters like a Grail GeoPress. And while things like the Grail specifically can remove a lot of different contaminants, the filters themselves have a pretty short service life, so you definitely want to have some extras on hand. It also wouldn't be a bad idea to keep several inexpensive Sawyer filters on hand, because even though they won't remove all the bad stuff from your water, they do serve very well as the first stage of a multi-step water purification system. Then you also want to have enough Silcock keys for all your bug-out bags and vehicles in case you need to access water on the outside of buildings during an emergency. The next kind of item that preppers should stockpile is fuel. And what you'll store depends on what kind of equipment you have. Most of us have cars, so you want to have at least a couple of gas cans set aside for that. But just remember that gasoline does have a pretty short shelf life of around 6 to 9 months, so that's going to be something that you want to rotate. You can use fuel stabilizer, however, there is some debate as to how effective those kinds of products actually are. Propane's another good fuel to store since it has several uses. It can be used for cooking, heating, and even to run some kinds of generators. It also has a much longer shelf life than gasoline, and that's why I tend to store more propane than I do gas. Really, as long as the tank holding it's in good shape, then the fuel inside is going to be usable. Getting larger cylinders is going to be a lot more cost effective than trying to buy several of those little 1-pound bottles. And besides that, many of the devices that use the smaller bottles do have adapters that allow them to be used with the larger tanks. And if you want to, you can also get little adapters that'll allow you to fill those smaller bottles from your larger cylinders. Butane is another good fuel to have since many butane stoves are safe to use indoors. However, I would limit the amount of this that you store in your home just because the cans themselves are a little bit more flimsy than those 1-pound propane bottles. Also, be sure to stockpile any specialty fuels for things like ultralight camp stoves if you plan on using those. If you have oil lamps or hurricane lanterns, stockpile some kerosene or lamp oil along with some extra wicks, and as a general rule, paraffin lamp oil produces less of an odor, so many people prefer to use it indoors, but kerosene does burn brighter. Candles are another good thing to keep on hand, but if you're using anything with an open flame, have some good fire extinguishers and battery-operated smoke and carbon monoxide alarms in your home. Denatured alcohol is good to keep on hand if you have something like an alcohol stove, and those work really well in things like bug-out bags, but you can use them at home also to heat up things like cans of soup or to boil small amounts of water. If you plan on grilling, charcoal can be good to have, but I wouldn't use that during a really bad situation since it'd let everyone in your neighborhood know that you have food. That would be better to use in more short-term situations where you're just trying to prevent things in your fridge and your freezer from going to waste. Wood pellets can be used for grilling, but they can also be used in things like the firebox stove or the BioLite camp stove. Then aside from fuel, be sure to have things like lighters and ferro rods, and you also want to have some fire starters as well. You can either make these yourself, like Vaseline cotton balls, or you can buy them commercially. The next kind of item that preppers should stockpile is different kinds of batteries. If you're a new prepper or just trying to get ready for a weather emergency, then simple AA, AAA, and D cells are good to have on hand for powering things like flashlights and radios. But if you have a solar power option, even if it's a smaller one, I would recommend transitioning to rechargeable batteries since those can be used for longer term situations. You also want to have some 9-volt batteries on hand for things like smoke and carbon monoxide alarms, and for those, the disposable kind actually is a better choice because it's easier for the device to tell if the charge on that battery is getting low and then give you the low battery chirp. If you have power tools, be sure to have plenty of batteries for those, because having cordless power tools can be very beneficial, but those batteries are a definite weak point. So keep track of those, and when they start to degrade, pick up some new ones. Then also check on any other devices that have special rechargeable batteries, like I have a couple of flashlights that have proprietary lithium-ion batteries, and those are another good thing to stay on top of. Also have any specialty batteries that you may need for things like electronic optics. I have an Aimpoint which uses kind of a weird battery that's not something I would just walk into Walmart and pick up. And since you have to go to special places to find those now, it's not very likely that I could be able to find one once things go south. Then, of course, having some USB battery banks is always a good idea. But another good battery-related item to stockpile is cheap flashlights, because a lot of those already include batteries. The blue lights from Harbor Freight are a good example of that, and while I wouldn't have those or maybe some other cheap flashlight as my primary EDC light if I could help it, they are good to have in different rooms of your house, and they're cheap enough that most people can afford to buy several of them. The next type of item that preppers should stockpile is medical items, and the first thing that comes to most people's minds is over-the-counter medications like pain relievers or stomach meds, but also be sure to have other things like allergy medications and even antifungal creams. Because during an emergency, you're probably not going to be able to stay as clean as you would like, and those are the kind of conditions where you can start to have different kinds of skin problems. Pedialyte's good to have on hand since it can help rehydrate your body, and this could be useful if you or somebody else is struggling with some sort of stomach condition where you're losing a lot of fluids from like diarrhea and vomiting. And it can also be useful during the summer months where people just get dehydrated because of the heat. Prescription medications are another good thing to have on hand if at all possible. There are several services out there that'll let you get a legally prescribed like kind of backup set of your personal medications and then also antibiotics. But if you're on something a little bit more controlled, then getting those is probably going to be pretty difficult. You also want to have a good collection of first aid items. Simple things like bandages, antiseptics, and antibiotic ointments are all good to have. But don't forget other things like braces, splints, gauze pads, larger dressings, and then even tourniquets. Since they're back in stock most places, now is also a good time to pick up some nitrile gloves along with respirators. N95s can help protect you from harmful particulates, which would be useful if you were near something like a collapsed building or somewhere where there's a lot of smoke. Half-face respirators like this one, in addition to being able to block particulates like an N95, can also help protect you against different kinds of chemical vapors if you have the right cartridges, so you want to be sure to stock up on those if you have this kind of mask. Then if you have a gas mask, have some additional filters on hand for those, since they do need to be changed out, especially if you're in a really contaminated area. The next type of item that preppers should stockpile is personal care items. Soap and shampoo are good to have because staying clean will help prevent the spread of different kinds of diseases and the skin conditions that I mentioned earlier. But things like hand sanitizer and wet wipes are also good to have, since using those will reduce the amount of water that you have to use to stay clean. Dental care items like toothbrushes and toothpaste are also important to have because problems with your teeth can be debilitating because of the pain and can even cause dangerous infections. Then if you're a woman or have anybody in your family that is a woman, you also want to have a good stockpile of feminine products as well. Then also have good clothing for every season. You never know when a disaster is going to happen, so having a good variety of both warm and cold weather clothing is essential. That can include things like jackets, but also footwear as well. Have plenty of socks and underwear, and then also gloves for both working and keeping your hands warm. Then if you have young children, set back some larger clothing for them so they can have something to wear if something goes down when they're a little bit older, along with some extra diapers for those that aren't potty trained. But if you're somebody that's concerned about a longer term situation, you do want to have some reusable cloth diapers on hand, and then all the other things that you would need to use with those. The next kind of item that preppers should stockpile is anything that has to do with defense. And most of the time, ammo gets the most attention in this category, but there are some other things that you want to keep in mind. For example, all the ammo in the world isn't going to make a bit of difference if what you're shooting it out of is poorly maintained. So things like solvent, oil, also cleaning patches or things that you can repurpose into cleaning patches, and then tools to make the job easier are all beneficial. Then also think of other things like springs and other parts that could be prone to breakage, maybe like slide stops, locking blocks, things like those, along with any tools that you might need to swap things out to make repairs. And the same thing goes for archery equipment. Have extra bolts, arrows, broadheads, and then also cables and strings, along with the tools that you would need to change those out. Then if you have all those taken care of, picking up some body armor is a good idea as well. The next kind of item that preppers should stockpile is anything that you can use for household cleaning, because keeping your home clean is another good way to help prevent the spread of disease. Dish soap can be used to clean a lot of different things, and sanitizing wipes are good to have since they'll reduce the amount of water that you need to use for cleaning. Having plenty of sponges, scrubbing pads, and rubber gloves can also help you clean different surfaces. Heavy-duty trash bags can keep trash separate from you and your loved ones if you can't dispose of it right away. and they can also be used for other things like waterproofing or as emergency ponchos. However, one big thing that many preppers overlook is insecticides, and having an infestation of bugs can be bad in several different ways. Some things like roaches could come into contact with your food and spread bacteria through that contact, which could make you sick, and then other things like mosquitoes and ticks cause illnesses through their bites. Because of this, it's always a good idea to have insecticides that can be used to prevent them from establishing themselves in your home or even in your yard. And there are different products out there that you can use for both treating the outside of your home as well as the inside, like baseboards. But you also want to have other things that you can use to treat like your clothing or yourself as an extra layer of protection if you're in a situation where you're likely to encounter anything that could try to feed on you. Paper products are another good item for preppers to stockpile, although many of these are not suitable for longer term situations. These really are mainly meant to make your life a lot easier during shorter term emergencies, or to maybe help you gain your bearings during the beginning of something more long term. Toilet paper is always good to have, and as we all know, it's going to be one of the first things to get snatched up if people lose their mess because things are going downhill. Paper towels can be beneficial as well, since they can reduce the amount of water that you need to use to clean things like rags. Compressed towels like these are a good backup to toilet paper and paper towels, since you can store a lot of them in a very small space, but they're pretty expensive to store in large quantities. Paper plates, paper bowls, and plasticware are also good to have, since they're another thing that can reduce the amount of water that you need to use for cleaning purposes, and those are especially useful during shorter term situations, maybe during like boil water notices or if you lose access to water utilities for a short time. The next group of items that preppers should stockpile is maintenance items. Things like duct tape, zip ties, and super glue are good to keep at home and in kits, since they can be used for a ton of different applications. For more serious repairs, epoxies can be used to create very strong bonds to help repair more critical items. Power tools are also good to have, provided that you have a way to keep them running long term, and aside from the tools themselves, also have other things like drill bits and drive bits and saw blades. And having a good collection of blades is especially important if you're using something like a reciprocating saw that can be used to cut different kinds of materials. However, there is a chance that even if you do have power tools and a way to keep them running, you may not be able to use those forever. And in that case, having manually powered tools like braces and bits and hand saws would be beneficial. Then also have any accessories that you would need for those as well. For example, I found that impact driver drill bits work especially well in manual egg beater drills, since they're less likely to slip inside of the chuck. Then you also want to have a good collection of repair manuals for fixing stuff around the house, along with any important equipment that you plan on using. Fasteners are another thing you want to stack deep, since nails, screws, nuts, or bolts will be needed for most kinds of repairs. Prepackaged kits are a good way to stock up on specialty parts like roll pins, gaskets, and small screws. And if you own your own home, set aside some lumber and plywood that you could use to make repairs to your home or other structures like sheds or fences. Tarps and plastic sheeting are another good thing to have, since they can be used to temporarily cover broken windows, and they can also be used to help protect you in the event of some sort of airborne contamination. Ropes and paracord have a wide range of uses, so it would be wise to have several different sizes at your disposal. Then take a look at any equipment that you plan on using during a crisis and have any spare parts that you would need for those, things like air filters, spark plugs, and then also oils and different kinds of fluids that you need to keep those running. And a bonus item that every prepper should stockpile is cash. And while a lot of stores would shut down if they lost the ability to process electronic payments, there might be some smaller mom and pop shops or even private individuals that would be accepting cash for certain things. So having that on hand would just give you options, and you want to have that in different denominations. Like, you don't want to have just like a stack of like $100 bills, because chances are people are not going to be making change and you might really end up overpaying for something. And when anybody does a stockpile video like this, there's a good chance that at least a couple of things have been left off. So if you want to see some more items that you should be stockpiling, then check out these videos. Thank y'all for stopping by. Y'all have a good one.